Hey everyone, Nick here and welcome back to GamerTube, and welcome back to our Poppy Playtime character concept series. So in today's video, the character we're looking into is Razor Raptor. So we'll look at their backstory, their location, their gameplay mechanics, and all that good stuff as well. And as always, I will just say that everything I say in these videos isn't actually linked to the lore and universe of Poppy Playtime. This is pretty much just a what-if scenario and a fun, cool, creepy story we get to tell, and we hope you enjoy. And lastly, before we start today's video, do be sure to subscribe to GamerTube as it helps out a lot and it's greatly appreciated. It also keeps you up to date with all the videos that we post. Alrighty, well, let's get into the character concept of Razor Raptor. So, before we get into our character concept of Razor Raptor, let's first take a quick look at the other Dino toy characters that we've seen so far. So, in our story, the hungry red dinosaur Bron used to be a part of the prehistoric playset. The characters that were included in this Dino gang were Bron himself, the angry orange Rex, and the frightening blue Steggy. All of these deranged Dino characters were hell-bent on devouring the player. Thankfully, our main protagonist managed to escape them in one piece. So now we come to the next character from the prehistoric playset. And this character is Razor Raptor. Razor was made up of the same material as the rest of the other Dino toys. Just like Bron and Rex, they were made up of a hard plastic with multiple ball joints in their arms, legs, and neck. Just like Rex, their jaw was also able to open and close. One interesting feature about Razor's design was their orange spines all along their back. Many believe that this is where Razor got their name. Now of course, Playtime Co. didn't really model Razor after the period-accurate Velociraptor. Playtime Co. was more interested in making bright and exciting toys than being true to the actual animal. Some Playtime Co. collectors say there is a limited edition feathered Razor model somewhere out there, but it's only ever been a legend. So as far as the toy goes, it was considered to be a popular item amongst the prehistoric playset. They obviously weren't as popular as Bron, but they made decent sales. But eventually, just like the other Dino pals, they were unfortunately discontinued. But I'm sure, like all the other forgotten toys, there's always the original model laying around somewhere in the factory. So now we return to our main protagonist. They escape the robotics department with their unlikely ally Boogiebot. Both of them eventually arrive at the new area of the factory. And this area is the emergency bunker. This time there were no colourful signs with any cute characters. Just a cold metal sign that reads the exact words, emergency bunker. This must have been the place where all the workers would assemble if ever there was an emergency. But what kind of emergency would include a heavily armoured door and large concrete walls? On the grey concrete walls were large scratch marks. Almost like something was trying to get its way in. For all the player knows, it could have been Huggy or any of the other dangerous characters. The front door was locked shut. Maybe there could be some surviving workers still held up in the bunker. Our protagonist had to find a way to open these doors and find out. The door has 3 large metal locks. They look electronic. Maybe they could find a power source and trigger them open with their new upgrade they got. So in the last video, our protagonist received the GrabPack upgrade. This allows the player to extend their hand and shock whatever they want. In this gameplay segment, the player needs to find 3 junction boxes and overload them. The player can hop inside Boogiebot and use their electrical vision scanner to locate the cables in the walls. They didn't remember Boogiebot having this ability. Maybe it must have been a new upgrade that Shufflebot gave them when they took over their software. As they follow the cables in the wall, they come across the first junction box. The player extends their GrabPack and gives it a shock. It works. Now there's only 2 more to go. As they scale the wall, they see more and more of these scratch marks. Whatever made them must have some deadly sharp claws. They supply power to the next junction box and another lock releases. Just 1 more to go. As they approach the last box, they get the strange feeling that whatever made these claw marks might still be in the area. They'd have to move quickly and find any remaining survivors. They activate the last box and the door is finally unlocked. Unfortunately, Boogiebot can't fit through this doorway, so our protagonists must explore this area all on their own. There seems to be no power at all. The place is pitch black. They turn on their flashlight and venture forward. Surely there must be some survivors down here. The fact alone that they made it to the emergency bunker surely proves the workers knew what dangers were lurking in the factory. Did any of them even make it into the bunker? Or did something get them before they could make it inside? As the player roams around this new area, they find themselves walking down numerous dark, winding corridors. In these corridors are multiple doorways leading to small living areas. In each room there would be a bed, some chairs, and a table. The player can see half-eaten food and rations on the table. This proves that some of the workers must have been here at one time. As they continue to roam around and search the rooms, they come across the main communal area. How big was this place? There wasn't any sign of anyone around. Just a bunch of shredded uniforms on the ground and what looks to be red stains all covering the walls. The player didn't even want to think about what these red stains could have been. Did any of these poor workers survive? Did something chase after them and made its way inside the bunker? Or was it already waiting inside, locked away with them? After searching throughout and coming up empty-handed, they decided to head back out to Boogiebot. They just have to remember how they came in and not get lost in the dark, winding corridors. As they head back, they can hear something moving around them. They turn around and look behind them, but they see nothing. As they turn back around, suddenly a terrifying creature burst out of one of the wall vents. It was Razor. How did they get in here? Were they the one who attacked all the poor workers? As they crawl out of the vent, they're revealed to be a much more dangerous and sinister version of the regular green raptor toy. Their claws have grown much larger and sharper, and their spines on their back have overgrown. Their eyes have become large, dark and hollow, just like Rex's eyes. Our protagonist launches their GrabPack at Razor to shock them with electricity. But nothing happens, they seem unaffected. The player needs to make a run for it before this deadly swift creature makes short work of them. So in this gameplay segment, the player has to desperately make their way back towards the entry of the bunker. The only thing is, the path they've taken has now changed. They don't know how, but somehow the corridors and pathways they originally took have shifted. Razor chases after the player frantically. So now the player needs to make their way through the new maze of corridors and hallways. If they get lost or reach a dead end, they would quickly meet their end. Razor would be the fastest enemy that they've ever faced. They would frantically sprint, twist, and turn around the corridors in pursuit of the player. Razor would always be right behind the player. One misstep and they'd surely catch them. The player does their best to make it back towards the entry of the bunker. If only Boogiebot was here to help. They could hide inside their metal interior and be protected. But unfortunately, it was only them and Razor in this cursed and winding maze. Eventually, they come across a dead end. The dead end has an open door that reads control room just above it. The player has no choice but to enter. As they rush through, they hit a switch and close the door. Just outside, they can hear Razor scratching and hissing outside the door. They turn around and see a large control panel. They soon realise these are the controls for changing the pattern of the walls. They also come to the realisation that this isn't an emergency bunker at all. It's a testing area, a feeding chamber. The poor workers that entered the emergency bunker were merely rats in a maze. And it was up to Razor to hunt them down and devour the poor souls. So in this final puzzle segment, the player needs to mess around with the control panel in order to get the correct sequence once more. There would be a number of red lights that the player would need to turn green. Once the player has guessed the correct sequence, then the maze would be set to its original loop. Finally, they could make it out of here. The maze shift has thankfully shifted Razor into another part of the maze. But it won't be long till they find the player once more. As they exit the control room, they make a break for the entry door. As soon as they exit this awful place, the door slams shut behind them. They can't seem to find Boogiebot anywhere. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Razor appears right in front of them. They've got the player cornered against the outer wall of the bunker. Just as the vicious beast goes to leap at the player, they're snapped up by a large set of orange jaws. It was Rex! How did they make it in here? And why did they attack Razor? Now wasn't the time for questions. The player needs to get out of here before they were snapped up by those orange jaws as well. On the other side of the emergency area was a fire escape door. They quickly make their way through and close the doors behind them. They should be safe for now. Rex was far too big to make it through a space that small. But where were they now? And what happened to Boogiebot? Hopefully they were safe. The player then moves on to whatever new area this factory has in store for them. Alrighty everyone, well that's all we have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider leaving a like, commenting and subscribing, as it helps out a lot and it's greatly appreciated. Also do be sure to comment down below what you thought of Razor Raptor and what you'd like to see coming forward. Alrighty everyone, well until the next video, we'll catch you later, bye.